This is CBC Vancouver News.
But I think it's really cool how even though they're disabled, they can still do amazing things.
The Invictus Games have officially started with thousands of fans taking in a star-studded opening ceremony at BC Place. Also,
remain steadfast with what we feel we deserve.
Bus drivers in Vancouver Island's Cowichan Valley are on strike, bringing transit services in the area to a screeching halt. Plus,
we're seeing that there's going to be a 700% increase in Asian communities, so that by 2050.
breaking down stigma, how a forum in Surrey is helping the city's South Asian community better understand dementia and what culturally appropriate supports are available. It comes as experts say the disease is on the rise in Canada. Hello, thanks for joining us. I'm Janella Hamilton. The 2025 Invictus Games kicked off in Vancouver today. It's BC's first time hosting the week-long competition that celebrates the courage and perseverance of injured or sick military veterans or other service personnel. And as Leanne Yu reports, fans say the event is inspiring for all ages.
Go Canada!
Thousands gathered at BC Place Saturday for a star-studded opening ceremony for the Invictus Games. Prince Harry also in Vancouver, continuing on a long-time Games tradition, welcoming military personnel and veterans to the adaptive sport competition.
A spirit of fortitude and perseverance that can never be defeated. That is the magic of the Invictus Games.
About 800 performers are taking the stage here at BC Place, headlined by singer Katy Perry and Coldplay frontman Chris Martin. Organizers say this is a chance to showcase competitors from around the globe, and fans are ready to show their support.
Go Invictus Games! We really want to see everyone and show how they do their sports with their disabilities. But I think it's really cool how even though they're disabled, they can still do amazing things.
I think it's just inspiring for people who might be in similar situations, whether it's they're servicemen or servicewomen, or they are someone who's injured or sick, and showing them that there are sports that are possible and you can still be an athlete.
The Invictus Games has made the show accessible by skipping the pyrotechnics found at regular sporting events and concerts. Stimuli that can cause discomfort for veterans and others dealing with post-traumatic stress.
I have a problem coming to the Whitecaps games because they set off fireworks and the drumming that happens in the games.
For Linda Nielsen, this spectacle is one she says she's able to attend as a person living with PTSD.
I think it's important to show support for anyone who's gone through trauma like I have.
Veterans were in attendance.
My dad here and my grandma and grandpa were in the military.
Along with young ones inspired to continue the legacy.
I'm hoping to maybe join the military myself, so it's pretty inspiring.
Prince Harry founded the Invictus Games in 2014 to champion post-injury achievements of wounded, injured, and sick military veterans and other service personnel. This year, hundreds of athletes from 23 nations will compete in events across Vancouver and Whistler until Sunday, February 16th. Leanne Yu, CBC News, Vancouver.
To Vancouver Island now, where bus operators in Cowichan Valley walked off the job this morning after labor talks with their employer broke down. More than 50 workers employed by Transdev are striking for better wages, breaks, and sanitary facilities. The strike affects more than a dozen routes in the communities like Duncan, Lake Cowichan, Chemainus, and Crofton, and service to and from Victoria. The union says Transdev presented an offer on Friday, which was already voted down in January.
Remain steadfast with what we feel we deserve, and the employers feeling that we're not deserving of fair wages and working conditions.
Transdev says the two parties had a, quote, productive dialogue on Friday, but still remain far apart, but says it wants to reach a fair contract. The union says so far no further talks have been scheduled. Handy-Dart services, except for essential services, have been suspended in the area. Mounties in Salmon Arm say an 18-year-old man is missing after he reportedly fell through the ice on Shuswap Lake this afternoon. Police say Salmon Arm Search and Rescue are still searching for the man. The RCMP's underwater recovery team has been called in. Police are warning people to stay off lakes in the area due to thin ice and unsafe conditions. Earlier this week, 2 bodies were recovered from a lake near Agassiz after 2 men failed to return from an ice fishing trip. In Seattle, a supportive housing group has found an innovative way to help people fight addiction. Pinky Wong reports.
William Lester lives at Plymouth Housing, a permanent supportive housing for people experiencing homelessness in Seattle. He used heroin for 35 years.
There's a time in my life where I was alone, and the heroin made me not be able to feel.
Lester says things changed when he was admitted to hospital for kidney failure after using methamphetamine.
And then when I got out of the hospital, I joined the program, and it works for me.
It's called Contingency Management, a 12-week program from Plymouth Housing, which gives participants a small financial reward to reduce or eliminate substance use. It's about positive reinforcement, basically the carrot instead of the stick. For every negative urine test, which happens twice a week, Lester could get a gift card for groceries or accumulate a reward of almost $600 each calendar year.
It just gives people the opportunity to be successful when they didn't think that they had opportunity. Is that immediate gratification, that immediate reward that makes people want to keep coming back.
She says when participants come back with positive test results, staff have the opportunity to engage immediately and understand how they can offer support. Participants don't get kicked out of the program for a positive test. Instead, their semi-weekly reward amount will decrease and they will have to build their way up again. According to research, motivational incentives for behavioral change are effective.
There's about 40 years of research evidence supporting this intervention as a treatment, as a powerful treatment to help people stop or cut down their stimulant use.
In BC, the Ministry of Health says contingency management is an important part of the continuum of care for substance use, and similar programs are offered by Fraser Health and Vancouver Coastal Health. McDonald says these programs play an important role in reducing addiction and make a difference in people's life. Pinky Wong, CBC News, Vancouver.
A new program in Cranbrook aims to get people off the streets and into a job. As the CBC's Corey Bullock reports, organizations have teamed up to offer same-day pay to some of the city's most vulnerable people.
Peter Eugene starts his workday with a thorough vacuum of the food bank's warehouse. He's part of a same-day pay program that helps houseless folks gain employment, something he says is changing his life.
Trying to help me get away from the hard drugs, and it's been working quite a bit, helping me out, keeping my mind busy on something else instead of getting out there and causing trouble.
Peter grew up in Cranbrook, but for the past 4 years has lived at an encampment at a local park. He says he lost his job a few years ago after suffering from frostbite and losing his toes. And when this opportunity came up, he was happy to take it.
Rent's getting to the point where hardly anybody can live nowadays. It's just getting so hard out there. This is the most homeless people I've seen on Cranbrook streets.
Peter works 3 days a week and is paid $25 an hour cash that same day. The money comes from the Ready Grant program through the Regional District of East Kootenay. Right now, he's the only person in the program to work at the food bank. But many other peers or people with lived experience have been doing same-day pay jobs for the last 3 years through the outreach organization Anchors.
We just started looking at strength-based approaches to helping folks right now in this drug poisoning epidemic, and ways that we could just help people promote their wellness.
She says part of the goal is to reduce survival crime, but also to help peers gain work experience in the community. So, Anchors partnered with the food bank to expand the program just a few months ago. Peter helps keep the warehouse clean and organized, among many other tasks.
Really, anything that we need help with, Peter is there lending a helping hand and has just integrated himself seamlessly into our team.
She says grants for wages are hard to come by, so she and the team at Anchors hope to gain more funding and hire more people. But in the meantime, they're happy to have Peter, and he's happy to be there. Corey Bullock, CBC News, Cranbrook.
A new study indicates dementia is increasing at an alarming rate in Asian communities across Canada. Saurabh Sandhu has more on how a forum in Surrey is helping the city's South Asian community better understand dementia and what culturally appropriate supports are available.
Hundreds from Metro Vancouver's South Asian community crowded into Surrey City Hall Saturday to learn more about brain health. Organizers say the forum aims to raise awareness about the higher risk of developing dementia among certain ethnicities.
We're seeing that there's going to be a 700% increase in Asian communities, so that by 2050. So that includes, South Asian communities, Filipino, Chinese, and Japanese communities. And Fraser Health has the fastest growing South Asian communities and the biggest number right now too.
She says about 48% of people living in Surrey speak Punjabi. Surinder Handa believes events like this are helpful for caregivers as well.
How this dementia starts, what are the symptoms, then how to deal with it.
The City of Surrey is doing its part to help break down barriers by publishing a handbook on healthy aging for seniors in Punjabi, part of city's new multilingual communications policy.
It enables us to provide more documents and materials in multiple languages that will support our community and offer diverse opportunities.
She says the handbook includes information about culturally appropriate services and resources, as well as maps that outline nearby city parks and recreation centers.
A high percentage of our community are of South Asian and in Punjabi, and we really believe that this guide is a valuable resource for our community.
Saturday's event, which included expert panel discussions and information booths, were offered in English and Punjabi.
Even if they have not clarified everything, they can take the pamphlets, they can take the brochures, they can read at home, and information is accessible to them.
A recent report by Alzheimer's Society of Canada shows more than 650,000 people in Canada live with dementia, and over the next 5 years, that number is expected to rise to 1 million. Saurabh Sandhu, CBC News, Surrey.
It's a big weekend for football fans and local bars as the Super Bowl kicks off in New Orleans. And as Liam Britton reports, BC could see a record-setting amount of gambling on much more than just the game.
Patrick Polis has one thing on his mind this weekend.
Revenge. Definitely want to see some revenge.
The diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan is stoked his Birds have a rematch with the Kansas City Chiefs. But this time he hopes Philly comes out on top. And he's putting his money where his mouth is.
I got a $20 bet with my manager at work.
Matt Lee with the BC Lottery Corporation expects plenty more wagering.
What we have seen are increases in Super Bowl betting on PlayNow.com year over year.
Including on novelty bets like the number of Taylor Swift appearances and the color of the liquid dumped on the winning coach.
The favorite is lime/green/yellow.
Bars like Vancouver's Red Card are also working on their color palette.
Red shots for any Chiefs fans and green shots for any Eagles fans.
Events manager Vanessa Rizzo believes it'll be busy.
We are constantly packed, have people phoning for reservations all the time.
Polis is predicting a close game.
Come down to the wire, probably last play or so.
We'll find out on Sunday. Liam Britton, CBC News, Vancouver.
Let's go! And they're coming in hot. Of course, ice is always, we've got an interest in the Chiefs. And once again, it looks like the Chiefs have been picked.
And as tradition goes, the Vancouver Aquarium sea otters are taking a gamble on the Super Bowl outcome this year. The Otters predict a close game that will end in the Kansas City Chiefs taking home the trophy. Every year, the Otters predict the winner by choosing their favorite team's plate of food. Last year, they successfully predicted the Chiefs' victory. We'll find out tomorrow if they're right again. Coming up, U.S. President Donald Trump's administration is now facing a new set of legal challenges sparked by its own executive orders. We'll have that story next. U.S. President Donald Trump is facing new legal challenges against orders from his administration, and protests have been growing in response to Trump's recent plans to slash certain federal agencies. Chris Reyes reports.
The first item that President Trump is signing is...
As President Trump goes into his third week of office, the executive orders keep piling up and the resistance to all of it mounting.
What we're facing right now in this country is a Trump administration moving 100 miles an hour in 100 different areas and on a daily basis breaking the law, violating the United States Constitution.
Trump has already signed more than 50 executive orders, in addition to revoking almost 100 orders from the Biden administration. The so-called shock and awe campaign has upended every aspect of the government, from its federal workforce to the FBI to foreign policy.
It's obviously impossible to focus if there are hundreds of seismic, radical things happening every day. So in a way, even though it's characterized by kind of an abundance, a flood of information, it is also kind of a form of censorship, right? It's sort of a form of trying to hide things in plain sight.
No Trump! Across the country, Democrats, civil rights groups, and activists have turned to the courts to stem the tide of Trump's aggressive agenda. Today, a federal judge in New York put the brakes on the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, restricting its access to the Treasury Department's payment and data systems. The department is responsible for managing trillions of dollars in Social Security payments and government salaries. Trump has been stalwart in his defense of Elon Musk, his appointed head of the newly created agency.
It's amazing, actually, what they've exposed, and to a level where they cut 97% of the people out. The whole thing is a scam, and you look at some of the people working there, they're very political people.
Another federal judge from Washington, D.C. has issued a temporary restraining order to stop the Trump administration from putting thousands of USAID workers on leave. In Washington, protesters have hit the streets to fight back against the attack on federal workers.
We deserve our rights and we will fight for our rights.
It's a battle that's barely in its first month, with the president forging ahead in record speed, showing no signs of relenting. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau embarked today on a week of diplomacy in Europe, diplomacy overshadowed by the turmoil of the new Trump presidency. Trudeau's trip began with his attendance at Aga Khan's funeral. This week includes a NATO summit, a chance to lobby the U.S. vice president, and sound out other allies on U.S. foreign policy shifts. Trudeau's also expected to push holdout countries to ratify 2016's Canada-EU trade agreement, seeking expanded trade amid the U.S. tariff threat. Singer-songwriter Buffy Sainte-Marie has been removed from the Order of Canada. The legendary entertainer became a lightning rod for controversy after a CBC documentary cast doubts on her Indigenous ancestry. Nicole Williams has the story.
Love, lift us up where we belong. An Indigenous icon now stripped of Canada's highest honour. In a notice quietly issued Friday, officials announced the appointment of Buffy Sainte-Marie to the Order of Canada was terminated, ordered by Governor-General Mary Simon back in January.
This is not a moment I envision seeing where a very high-profile national award would have been revoked from somebody like Buffy Sainte-Marie.
It's been more than a year since Sainte-Marie's Indigenous identity was called into question. For decades, the artist has claimed she was Cree and believed to be born on the Paipop First Nation in Saskatchewan. But a CBC Fifth Estate investigation found her birth certificate, which says she was born in Massachusetts to white parents.
We're at a moment where the public is finally taking the issue of self-indigenization seriously, and it's being taken seriously at the highest levels of government. And that's a big change from where we were a few years ago.
Officials not sharing why they're expelling Sainte-Marie, but according to its policy, the Order of Canada can be revoked for a number of reasons, including criminal convictions or behavior seen to undermine the credibility, integrity, or relevance of the order.
And a proud member of the Native community with deep roots in Canada.
Requests for comment went unanswered, but in a video statement last year, the musician called the allegations in CBC's original story hurtful and defended her Indigenous identity.
I know who I am, I know who I love, and who loves me.
And Sainte-Marie has been well loved, winning numerous awards for her work, including the Order of Canada in 1997 and even an Oscar for Best Original Song in 1983, considered the first Indigenous person to win an Academy Award.
It's not very often someone is expelled from the Order of Canada. In fact, it's quite rare. Only 9 people have been so in its more than 50-year history. Nicole Williams, CBC News, Ottawa.
Here we have a live shot of the Johnson Street Bridge in Victoria on a very clear night. I'll have your full forecast coming up next.
This is Vancouver is a new CBC podcast where we explore the issues, the stories, and the people that make this place home. Listen to This is Vancouver wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, it is time now to take a look at our weekend weather. Let's begin with a quick peek at the current temperatures around the province tonight. Relatively clear conditions for much of the province, minus 27, so still chilly in Fort St. John, minus 23 in Prince George. Overnight in Kelowna, minus 12, and on the island, minus 2 in Victoria, minus 1 in Tofino. We are going to see a chance of snow flurries overnight for the island and some parts of the south coast, including here in Metro Vancouver. Tomorrow is going to be minus 16 and sunny for Fort St. John, minus 12 and sunny in Williams Lake, minus 5 in both Kamloops and Kelowna for tomorrow. And on the island, a chance, about a 40% chance of snow flurries overnight and into the morning, and a mix of Rain throughout the day, heading into tomorrow's 5-day forecast, I should say, for Metro Vancouver. Again, a chance of those snow flurries in Metro Vancouver overnight and into tomorrow morning. 2 is our high for tomorrow, but it looks like that sun is going to peek back out on Monday. That is your late news for this Saturday. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. To keep up to date with all the latest news, you can always head to our website at cbc.ca/bc. We'll see you tomorrow.